I'm taking you out tonight. Don't you wanna go with me? Be the town and ride with me. Hot shot, you're so fly. Rocking up designer jeans and I swag when you talk to me. Ready or not, here I come. Never late when the night is young.
Hi guys, and welcome to season 2 of In Her Purpose Show, a platform where we feature female game changers who have paved the way on succeeding their goals and continue to inspire at the same time. I am your host, Mafe Yunam Velasco, and this show is very close to my heart because I'm able to learn and grow weekly with two amazing, beautiful women who are the founders and also authors of In Her Purpose book and company. Always a treat to introduce these beautiful women to you. First off, we have Jen Redondo Marquez, who is a game changer herself, working in the tech world and serving as a mentor for Collective Hustle and Pasta, Filipino Americans in Silicon Valley Tech, and of course, Rose Buado, mother of two, businesswoman, mentor to young women entrepreneurs, inspirational speaker, and manager of the Philharmonic. Hi, Jen. I know it's just the two of us today, but I love introducing Jen, Rose also. So, Rose, we're missing you. Enjoy the sunshine for us.
Yes.
How are you, Jen?
Good. Tired. Wish I was on vacation with Rose.
I know, don't we all? Well, we're going to live through her post, but take care, Rose. We'll see you again in the next episode. But for today, we also have another amazing woman with, of course, a beautiful name like our Jen here. Let me introduce her to you all first. Our special guest today, who is an author, also speaker, and a certified money coach. Oh, we need her in our life. She aims to help women create their ultimate life, gain clarity, and live out their true passion. So let's welcome the amazing Jen Fontanilla. Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Another Jen.
Hi, Jen. It's so weird to say hi, Jen. Well, welcome to In Her Purpose Live. We're so happy to finally have you on our podcast, live show. For those of in our community that don't know you, could you introduce who you are, what you do, and how you got to where you are today?
Yes. So I have been in the money space for over 16 years. And prior to that, I was in marketing and design. So I've been doing that for over 20 years. But the way that I got into this whole thing was because I realized, as many people do in this space, we've realized that there's a lack of financial literacy. We're not taught how to manage our money. We don't learn about investing. We don't know what we're supposed to do with the money. We are taught how to get jobs. We're taught that we're supposed to go work, but then when you have that money, what do you do with it? And that didn't sit well with me. And so that began the journey of understanding, not only for myself, but then I realized if I was confused and I went to college and all that stuff, well, there's got to be other people who are just as confused and need this stuff explained to them in plain English and not be intimidated and not be confused. And so, now as an author and a speaker, what I do is I just love helping women understand money, how it works, and how to live an intentional life and to do things the right way, but not even just the logistics where it's spreadsheets and budgets, and that's all great. But I think what's also more important for me as a coach now is also to help people understand money mindset and how to have a better relationship with money, because that's what really drives the decisions you make with your money today.
That's so interesting. How did you get into money?
Yeah, I was sitting at my desk one day and in my early 20s, and I remember sitting there thinking, like, I don't even understand what I'm supposed to do with this money. I had a lucrative job at that time. This was like 16 years ago. And I remember the feeling of, I don't like this. We didn't have the term FOMO back then, but it really was that realizing I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, the only thing I knew was get the money and then put it in a bank. In a savings account. And it's like, really? But then you would hear these terms like stocks and bonds and investing, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not doing that. And I remember having a friend at that time where I remember watching her. She was sitting on the floor. She was visiting. She went to Boston University. And I'm here in Los Angeles. And when she was home for the summer, I remember watching her writing something on a piece of paper. And it was a bunch of letters that didn't make any sense. And then I go, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm figuring out what stocks to buy. And mind, we were like in our early 20s. I don't even think we were 20 yet. And I remember how much that bugged me. Again, that FOMO, it wasn't called FOMO yet, but it was that feeling of like, wait a minute, you know about something, it has to do with money. And then it was that feeling of, oh, I don't like that I don't know what you're doing. I don't like that I don't understand that. I don't like that I don't know how to make that money the way that you are learning how to do it. So that was some of the stuff that was happening at different points in time where I finally got to this moment of, I need to do better. I want to learn, and I needed to take my own personal responsibility in order to learn this. And then it turned into like, okay, if this is how I feel, I know I can't be the only person that feels this way.
So what was the first thing that you did to learn? I know, like, growing up, my parents never really talked about money. Like, the only thing for me was go to college, get a job, work hard, find a stable job, and do your 401k. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that tends to be the typical type of advice that we get from our parents. And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes it's what I call blind leading the blind. It's not that they want to steer us in the wrong direction, but you only know what you know. And so for me, the thing that was the first part was getting licensed and getting that insurance license and then getting the investment licenses. And then really just understanding, unfortunately, you do have to understand how sales works and how to talk to people. So, I mean, that is like the bare bones, basic foundation of where it started, just getting the licenses to be able to legally talk about this stuff. And also to transact it when somebody wanted to become a client. And then also the art of talking to people, understanding personality types, understanding how the sales process works. And so for those of you who are entrepreneurial or in that space, you know, we all had to start somewhere. And then that's that whole thing, because if many of us have started from what Jen was just talking about, where we were just taught how to get a job, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, this is not just me showing up and getting paid every 2 weeks. Now it's like, this is me having to generate this stuff on my own. So it's a completely different mindset shift that you had to take over, because it is not you just getting paid, is now you having to create this for yourself.
Yeah, it sounds tough, especially like sales. That's something like I think is a very special skill that you have to work on. And some people are just gifted, but some of us are not. It does not come natural to some of us. So with everything that you've done throughout your career, what served as your inspiration throughout your career up until now?
I think for me, the thing that served as an inspiration was that feeling of, a lot of stuff I do is driven by feeling and logic, but, you know, balancing it. But for me, it's having that thought at the end of my life, and I know it's time to go. I don't want to look back and think I wasted opportunity. I don't want to think that there's all these gifts and talents and whatnot that God has given me, and to think that I didn't use it, to think that I didn't help people, to think that I just wasted it away. And I just couldn't live with that. So for me, it's also that feeling of, did I really live my best life? Did I really do everything that I was supposed to do? Did I really strive and do my best to reach my potential and make the impact that I wanted, to help the most people that I could have? And so it's really more of that. You know, I know we all have our why, like I have a son, and that's important. But for me personally, it was also that idea and that thought of like, what if I don't do it? What if I don't go for it? Am I going to be happy and content knowing at the end of my life, I go look back and I'm like, you know what? I didn't give it my all. I just know that that's the thing that doesn't sit well with me. And that's what drives me. Like, no, I am not going to get to that point. I do not want to feel that at that point in my life. But I don't make it, it's not a fear. You know, it's more of like, I use it as a motivator to be like, you know what, I want to feel good and happy knowing that, okay, I did my best.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the worst part is that not FOMO, but like that regret, like, damn, I should have did it.
Yeah.
Or what if I did it? Yes. Speaking of, what are some of the challenges that you had to overcome in your career being an entrepreneur and in the financial space?
Yes, there are quite a few. I mean, like you said earlier with sales, we don't learn that for especially when you come from a family where they're just telling you go to school, go to college, get a job. There's a whole different skill set that you have to learn, and then you go through these moments where you're just like, geez, like I just waste all that time because I could have just gone straight here, right? And you're just thinking like, wait a minute, why didn't I just take that shortcut? And so, I think some of those challenges are in the very beginning. And sometimes, with many of us, we go through these stages where we're just like, man, this isn't working. This isn't happening. This sucks. Like, I'm not making money, or nobody's signing up. Nobody's buying. I think we all go through that when we're in this space. And so that is a very real thing that we go through. And I think the other thing too is when you have that mindset battle, that doubt that you have in your head, you're like, I'm just not good enough. Or even those moments when you're experiencing imposter syndrome and questioning, right? We question ourselves like, am I really cut out for this? Or am I being authentic where I'm trying to portray that I know what I'm doing? And many of us do, but then we look at social media, we look at our colleagues, we look at our peers, and then we start comparing and we start going down that road. And then you start feeling like, oh my gosh, like I forget it. I'm just going to go find a job. We've all, all of us have gone through that conversation in our head. I know I've had that conversation with many of my friends who are also coaches and in that space of, digital courses, coaching, doing events, programs, whatever. We've all seen it. And there is that doubt that we all have experienced. And so I would say those are probably like the biggest struggles throughout the years. And then having to get back up when things didn't work and being positive and because again, like I said, it's not like you can just show up to work. It's like it doesn't matter how you feel. You have to choose to keep getting up and keep showing up, because if you don't, like, nothing's going to happen. No money's going to come in. And so it's I think the biggest struggle is just that whole thing, the way you're approaching things and your mindset. Yeah.
I know. One of the things that I always used to tell myself is having a corporate job is actually quite easy. You just have to show up. And
exactly. It's like, oh my gosh, there are days when I'm just like, yeah, I have had that same thought. I'm like, man, it was easy when I just showed up. I could just sit there and do the work and not think and know that I was going to get paid. So,
yeah. I always tell myself, it's like, oh, it's not so bad. All I have to do is show up. But then, you sit there and you're thinking all these hours that I'm spending working on someone else's stuff kind of eats at you and it kills you. You're like, dang, if I put in these hours and the time for myself, like how much farther would I be? Like I always think about that all the time. So that's what I struggle with, because I'm still in a corporate job and I think about that quite often. Like how much further would I be if I just banked on myself? So what made you decide to quit? This is a question I like to ask everybody.
Oh my gosh, to be totally honest and transparent, aside from, I wanted to help people, which is not a bad thing. But to be totally honest, that last job I had, which was like 2005, I absolutely couldn't stand my manager. I mean, that was basically it. I mean, that was like the driving factor. I'm like, I'm done. I cannot stand this person. They micromanage me. And I mean, I kicked butt in the company at that time. I mean, I never missed a deadline. I always delivered, over-delivered. So it was getting to the point where I'm like, this person is either jealous, loves to micromanage, has to prove a point. I don't even know what it was, but I was just like, I can't be here anymore. And I mean, it got to a point where I started, I call it, I was scheming. It was like, I gotta create my plan. How do I exit? What are my reserves? How do I do this? Can I take a loss? All kinds of things, went through my mind. But yeah, the short answer is it was somebody at the job that I had no control of getting rid of. And I was like, well, they're not going to get rid of you. I need to exit myself out.
Mm-hmm. That's usually the case. People leave managers, not jobs, unfortunately, more often than not.
It's unfortunate.
So what are some of the current goals and projects that you're working on that you want to share with our audience and our community? Yes.
So my partner, Dr. Summer Watson, she's a doctor of psychology. and she's doing clinical work and social work. And I joke around that she's also my legal counsel, and she's got a background in law. And so I ask her for advice and stuff, but she's my partner, and we host the Life, Love, and Money show. And so one of our goals is to help the emerging entrepreneur. So it's not so much the logistics stuff where you need to get the LLC and you need to get the business license and you need to do this and your taxes, and those are all important things. But we're starting with, who are you serving? What is your goal? What is the purpose that you're trying to do? Who are you speaking to? Because even from the design perspective, when I've worked with clients, a lot of people have these great ideas and then they don't know what they're doing. And then it's like, wait a minute, you're trying to go to step 10 and we don't even have the foundation set. So we are serving that community, the people that have an idea, but really need to set that groundwork first, because you can't jump and do all the logistics if you don't even understand what you're doing. You have the idea, you have the energy and the passion, but you don't even know where you're starting from. So we're starting that up, and we have a program coming up. And then even on the other side, I have a wealth management team called Better Wealth. And I'm super, super excited about that, because we say that we are the alternative to better financial planning. And so really taking a different approach. And our goal is to show people how to live intentionally and make different decisions with their money, and just really doing it differently from how traditional financial planning has been done. So those are some things that I've been working on and very focused on in the current time. So just really, really excited about those things.
Awesome. I'm interested to learn more about what are the different ways than traditional investing.
Yeah, a lot of times, and I was a former financial advisor, so I can totally speak to this. A lot of times when you speak to somebody, it's more of, oh, this is a great product for you to get. Oh, you should get this insurance. Oh, you should go do this. And it's never always the case that you're usually not starting with coaching. You're not looking at behavior. You're not looking at subconscious patterns, which is the part that I love, whether it's mindset and understanding where are your decisions being driven from. How did you grow up? What did you learn about money from your mother and your father? You don't have those kinds of discussions with a traditional financial advisor. I mean, I know, because I've sat in meetings myself, and this is where I see it's different. We also can model things differently, where we have a way to look, okay, what if this happened at this point in time? How does this affect everything? The traditional way is like, let's just plug in some numbers, and like, if you just consistently invest and you get like an 8% conservative rate of return, this is what it's going to look like 40 years from now. And that's pretty much it. That's not how we do it. So there's like those little differences that make a huge difference. And so even just really though, the approach is not so much we're product pushing, because that's not even what we lead with. It's like, no, let's think about this. What is it that you want to do? And so there's also this really, really importance that's stressed upon the coaching and walking clients through it. So I would say in general, that's one of the biggest differences.
Interesting.
Wow. I know that Rose has a million questions. I can already feel her energy. And for sure, you're helping our community right now. Jen, we have a weekly conversation, even daily, about how can you have the courage to just, all right, see you later to the day job. And you're pretty much encouraging everyone that you can do it. It's earlier you talked about how not comparing your day one to somebody's day 100, right? You have to just surround yourself with people like, of course, Jen right here, and of course, Jen, my In Her Purpose star. You're both inspiring, but let's lighten things up, because I know we can talk offline and perhaps in the future even collaborate on amazing, inspiring workshops, because obviously, Jen, you have an amazing team. I want to learn more about it too. But for the fave questions that Rose has, I'm speaking on behalf of her too. How do you find balance in your personal life, in your career? And of course, we spoke about also serving others, right? But at the same time, how do you serve you?
Yeah, I think this is so important. I love that you're asking this question. And this is something I see a lot of people lack in their lives. I think first and foremost, one of the best skill sets you can learn is really good, solid time management. If you don't have that, all this making balance and having time for everything is just not going to happen. It's going to be very, very difficult. So you hear the concept of pay yourself first. And so it's kind of like the same thing with time. And time is so important and precious to me because out of everything in this world is the one thing you cannot make more of. You can make more friends. You can make more money. You cannot make more time. So time is such a precious commodity. That's how I look at it. So for me, when it comes to creating balance and whatnot, it is so important that I make that time for me. So for me, it has become a daily practice where I pray, I meditate, I journal, and I work out religiously. So that is like a non-negotiable. I make sure that those things get done. There's no, I didn't have time. I don't have time for that. Like those words don't come out of my mouth. Like it's become so part of my lifestyle. And so that's a huge component of why I do feel I have balance. And you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You have to fulfill those things for yourself. Otherwise, how do you expect to show up for others? How do you expect to show up for your partner, your spouse, your friends, your kids, your work, people who count on you, the community that is counting on you if you volunteer or you serve on the board of directors for a nonprofit? So it starts there. And it's not, here's the thing too, it is not selfish. There are some people that might look at, well, that's selfish. You're just thinking about, you can't show up and give out of nothing if you are resorting yourself to being depleted and tired and not taking care of yourself. So you want to create balance. It's got to start with you realizing that you have to come first. And I know we've all heard this analogy. It's kind of like you go on that airplane. Who do they tell to put the mask, the oxygen mask on first? You. Then they tell you to put it on the kid or whoever is next to you, right? It's the same thing. You have to take care of yourself. And if you shift your mindset and stop looking at it as being a selfish act, in fact, you got to look at it as it is being selfless. It is a selfless act for you to take care of yourself so that you can show up. Because this is what I see. People get burned out. They get sick. I have friends who got diabetes, people who had a heart attack, and they're like not even 40. And I'm like, you are not taking care of yourself. So then what happens? You're in the hospital. And I know we were supposed to lighten this up, and now I'm going down like a doom and gloom road. But
that's okay.
It's true though.
Yeah, I want to paint the picture of how important this is that you guys got to take care of yourself in all these different ways, because you want to last. You want to, I love Rose's shirt, leave a legacy. How are you going to leave a legacy if you're not around? If you want to make a difference in your community, you want to make a difference and help other people, how can you do that if you're sick? How can you do that if you're not taking care of yourself? All your time will start being devoted to recovering when you could have just been maintaining this entire time.
Love it. Jen, can you hear the music? But yeah. Thank you for inspiring the audience, because there are people that need to hear that. Actually, I just read the other day about habits. I'm all about habits, and it shared that to change your mindset when you're nervous, you have to stop yourself from feeling that way, because you're actually manifesting everything that can go wrong. Right? You have to be very strong enough to know that everything will go right. We're also humans. I mean, we're going to get nervous. We're going to get excited. We're going to have these emotions running wild. But what you just shared right now is so powerful. I'm getting chills, because I know everybody is nervous. They're nervous to take that big step of, I'm going to open up my own business, or I'm going to do this on my own. I was there too. Like, it took me three times to have a partner in a business to finally say, oh, I'm going to put my name on it. I'm going to do it my way. But I think it all goes with your story also, what you have experienced. And thank you for showing us how we can do so many things. Life is unlimited, right? And speaking of the music, another favorite question of Rose, going into, let's say, a workshop, or maybe in a Zoom call where you're about to do your inspiring preaching, just like you did with us, what would be your theme song when you walk into the room, when there's doors open? Like, what do you hear like that just pumps you up?
Yeah, I think off the top of my head, Alicia Keys, "This Girl Is on Fire." That one. I cannot remember the name of the person, the one about Bulletproof. And I love that song. It's it just reminds me of those times when we have all those bad things happen to us, whether it's been a divorce, loss and broken up from a relationship, or, anything, lost your money, lost your house. I mean, I went through all of that. And at the end of the day, you realize, wait a minute, I'm pretty resilient. Do I get back up? Yeah. Do I let that keep me down? No. Am I going and going, even though things keep coming at you? How are you handling it? And so that's why I love that song, because it's really speaking to you about, having resiliency.
Right. I love that. And of course, this is In Her Purpose Show, and Jen and Rose and I always love to hear other strong women that we admire on understanding, what do you believe is your purpose, and what does living in your purpose look like for you?
That looks like, for me, where I have defined what my core values are. That's something my partner, Summer, and I talk about all the time, about our core values. And I think for me personally, living in my purpose is when I look at my values, and some of those are having meaningful relationships, enlightened, being inspirational. And I look at those things, I always ask myself, am I always doing the things that I need to do that move towards that? Because I really believe that when you align your actions and your behavior and your thoughts and everything that you choose to do with those values, that's when you can show up. That's when you can be your 110%. That's when you can be really living your best life and all those different things. But if you don't have those values guiding you, this is why I think, and it took me a while to get this. I mean, it was like only recently that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so obvious. It's when we feel that, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of lost. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. It's when we're floundering. It's more than likely you haven't defined what your core values are. And so for me, I had to go back to something I read. It's actually by Danielle Laporte called the Desire Map. And I had written these core values in 2014, and I walked away from it. And I had to revisit it, and I'm just like, am I doing those things? And as I realize all the things that I'm choosing now and saying yes to, and even more importantly, are you also choosing the things to say no to? Because anytime you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So make sure the things that you are saying no to are in alignment with what you don't want. And when you can do all of that, that's when I feel like I am living in the purpose that I've been called to do, which is helping people understand money better, how to understand, like, how to navigate through this crazy entrepreneurial world, because social media has this amazing way to paint the picture. Like, it's like, yeah, I'm traveling everywhere. Everything is a virtual office. It's like, I ain't working at the beach. You don't even have Wi-Fi. Sometimes it's like, I see some pictures and I'm just like, there are times when that's for real. And then there's times like, you know what, this is giving a false narrative. And I like to be there, and I'm sure like the show also strives to do that, where like, no, let's talk about the real stuff that happens. Yeah. It is not always fairy tales, puppy dogs, rainbows, butterflies, and ice cream. And it's like, no, I'm going to give you the real. It is not easy. Is it worth it? Yes. Is it easy? No. So it's just being real and helping people along the way to inspire them to be like, you know what, you can do this. But by the same token, let me tell you what it's really going to take.
Yeah, we need that for sure. I feel like you've been talking to me this whole time. He's talking to me.
He's been talking to all of us, Jen. We need these reminders. But, you've shared so much. Words of wisdom for sure. So, guys, if you just tuned in, I recommend you guys watch this replay or re-listen to it and share it to your family and friends that need that reminder, or just to light their fire in them, because we all have it. And of course, Jen, there's a lot of young leaders out there that still are not aware of their potential. So for you as a leader of today, what are the 3 pieces of wisdom you want to give those young people who want to follow in your footsteps, or even young at heart?
Yeah, I love that. Young at heart. Yeah. I think 1, constantly invest in yourself. Don't ever feel like you've reached your maximum potential. Like, there's always opportunity for constant learning. Get involved with a book club. My wealth team, we have a book club internally where we invite clients and people from the outside, and we are constantly reading books about mindset, books about the business, books about structuring a business, so and entrepreneurial, all of that kind of stuff. And so whatever it is that you are interested in, learn about it, continue to grow. The second thing I would also say is surround yourself by like-minded people. This, I think, is one of the most important things you can do, because this is what I see often, where you have to realize if you decide to go into this space, you are walking into a completely different world. And you're going to be questioning, like, why aren't my friends and family supporting me? How come they're not buying my book? How come they're not signing up for my book? They are not your target audience.
Yeah.
And I have to remind you that, because there's many of us that get caught up in, like, my friends and family aren't supporting me. They love you. They are not your target audience. And so why are you expecting them to buy from you? Yep. You have to understand that concept. They are not your target audience. It's like Nike expecting the Adidas people to buy their shoes. They are not their target audience. Mm-hmm. And so when you can embrace that, it is so relieving. It's going to release you from, like, beating yourself up, feeling like a failure. And here's the thing, alongside with that part about friends and family, you have also got to let it go about them supporting you. How come they're not buying your stuff? And when it comes to asking for help and advice, why are you asking the cousin who's never had a business? And then you get mad because of what they told you. You got to be careful where you're getting help, where you're getting advice, because this is the stuff you have to filter through it. You have to go through the weeds and filter out, who am I going to talk to? Who am I going to ask for advice? Because you could be very well, you're asking the wrong people and you're expecting the wrong people to support you. When you can understand that you got to surround yourself with the right people, the people that are already in the industry that you're trying to get into, learn how to collapse timeframes. If you can talk to the people who can show you the ropes and help you get there faster, you'd be surprised. There are so many people out there that are willing to talk to you, willing to help you. There are so many programs out there. It's ridiculous. So be careful who you're talking to and where you're getting advice from and who you are expecting to support you. So it's like, also, I can sum number 2 up as manage your expectations. And then number 3, I would say learn how to say no and how to make space. And let me explain what that means. A lot of times you are wondering, how come I'm not making this money? How come I'm not connected to the right people? How come all this stuff is not happening for me? I'm going to tell you from an energetic space and energetic point of view, a lot of times it's because you are probably hanging on to the things that you needed to let go a long time ago. And that could be sometimes a relationship, a romantic relationship. It could be some friends. It could be, some family members that you got to love from afar. And this is so powerful, because sometimes we are so caught up into hanging on to everything. And then, I don't want to feel bad, but I don't want to hurt their feelings. Here's the thing. Do you want to live out that purpose and go after that dream and make things happen? I'm going to tell you, it's probably what's causing that blockage. Because there are some things that need to leave your life. You need to create that space in order for the other stuff that are supposed to come, the things that you want to be blessed with. But it can't come if you're hanging on to the stuff you need to let go of. And so learn how to do that. Learn that saying no is not a bad thing. It's actually healthy. If it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't make sense for you to hang on to it, and I'm not saying it's easy. You have to have a really tough, hard internal conversation, and it's probably going to require a lot of praying to God, but you have to do those things in order for you to realize, I need to let this go. I need to release this. Otherwise, all these things that you want are not going to come in. So those are the things I would say, like 1, 2, and 3. If you can even do that much, you're going to get so far ahead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ringing that bell for everyone, I think. I love everything you shared. And of course, we want to know where to find you, what else you have upcoming up. I know Jen asked you earlier about your workshops, but please do share with the audience. How can they get more wisdom from you?
Yes, you can either just follow me, scrolling down there on IG or Facebook at Jen Money Coach. You can also go to my site, jenmoneycoach.com. I'm really easy to find online, and shoot me a DM. Let me know that you heard about me through this amazing show, and I'm more than happy to answer questions. People, hey, you know what? I heard you and I had a question about this. I'm more than happy to talk to you about whatever it is that you have a question on, because I know how blessed I've been with people mentoring me or people taking the time out of their schedule to help me and answer questions. So I'm always happy to give back to the community.
Definitely a woman with a purpose, guys. So make sure you do follow Jen, and it's already pretty much out there. She is a money coach, but she's also somewhat of an inspiration to all of us. I'm so happy that I was able to meet you. Thank you, Jen and Rose, for always making, because I'm in the Philippines, my Friday mornings, I feel like it's a Monday again. I just want to keep going because of this. But I'm sure we're going to collaborate more in the future. Jen, would you like to share anything to Jen before we wrap up and say see you later to her?
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to say thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with not just me and Mafe, but our community. The last piece of wisdom really hit me because someone actually told me that in 2018, like for me to receive like blessings, I have to let go of like what was comfortable for me, and I have to like leave in order to grow. And
Wow.
as much as I thought that that was crazy, I did it. Like I quit, I left, and that's how I was able to have the time to write and do In Her Purpose. I would not have had the time otherwise. And it was true that if I did not do that, then I would not, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't have celebrated our 1-year anniversary. We wouldn't have a community. And we wouldn't have this community that we've built. And so, I feel like you talking to me today is like reminding me like, hey, remember remember?
Yeah, I love it.
So, like now I'm like reevaluating, like, what am I doing with my time? What am I saying yes to? What am I saying no to? And so, a lot of that, like even myself, I have to reevaluate for myself. Like as much as I'm out there trying to help other people, like what you said, I have to like take care of myself and be selfless for a minute. So
yeah,
I may have to take a pause.
And that's healthy. I love this revelation that you have, Jen. It's so healthy for you to do that. And I love that you shared that and you've gone through it and you know what it feels like. And just imagine, kind of like what I shared earlier about that regret. Imagine had you not done that, like you said, you wouldn't be, you and Rose would not be celebrating the 1 year. We wouldn't be here. And so it's like, wow, so rewarding and gratifying to see that you took that leap. And I think that's something to be celebrated. And for you to recognize like, wow, I need to do these things because it's taking care of you. And I think the more that we can just embrace ourselves and love ourselves and just feel like this is good, this feels good. Because too often, especially, in Filipino families and whatnot, it's like, this is stuff that we don't learn. This is stuff that we're not taught. And when we have to learn it. So, thank goodness that you guys are sharing this message and showing that this is something that everybody can take a walk in this journey and this path if they chose to do so.
I know it's funny when you were talking about the family, like how you're talking to the wrong family member. Rose and I are pretty much the only ones not in the medical field. So naturally,
you're not nurses.
No, so we gravitated towards each other, like talking about stuff, and everyone else in our family is like, oh, what are these two up to? What are you up to? But it's pretty cool because this past weekend at our event, a lot of our nephews and nieces that are in the medical field, like they came out and volunteered and helped us. And they got to like see, the amazing things that we're doing and meeting the really great people that we work with. And I know that they had a lot of fun. So it's different from taking care of sick people and dealing with the pandemic. So it gave them a little break.
I love that. What I want to just highlight that is so important, and hats off to you guys, kudos, because what do we see in school on career day? It's the typical, and not to put these careers down, but you see the policeman, the teacher, the traditional stuff. Well, when are you going to bring in the social media manager? When are you going to bring in the entrepreneur? When are you going to bring in the public speaker? I don't see those things. And I know because I've gone to career day and then I'm like the weirdo that's like, oh, this is different, right? And it's like, that is so important for those young minds, your nephews and nieces, to see like, oh, there's a different way to make money.
Yeah.
This is something to open my eyes to see that there is a different path, and it doesn't always have to be this guaranteed way that I've been hearing all my life to just go to college. Again, I am not putting those things, and this is probably another episode, I am not putting those things down. But when our culture, when our traditional families only uphold that as the real and only way to make money, that's what doesn't sit well with me. And so I think platforms like this are so important to show other people, especially the young ones, that wait a minute, there is another way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you should still at least get a degree so that your parents will get off your back.
Yeah, just
get a degree. Just get a degree.
There, I did.
Bare minimum.
Right.
Totally agree with you, ladies. Just a quick fun fact. My husband played basketball here in the Philippines. And of course, as an athlete, there is an end date, right? The contract will end, you get older. It's not one of those things, it's for a lifetime. So a lot of the wives, my friends, we're all going through nursing school. And for me, I'm not a woman that likes blood. Like my son will have a nosebleed and I'll freak out. So I already told my husband, I was straight with him. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do something else. Just know that it's going to be amazing. But sorry, I'm not good with blood. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it, So at least being honest with that. And of course, we get put in a category just because of our background or our culture. But at the end of the day, no matter what you're doing, if you're inspiring, and we're somewhat like earlier, Jen, you said we're not helping people. We are, mental health is real. And just like what Jen, as a money coach and everything, all her wisdom that she's sharing right now, we are helping people to progress in a positive mindset and inspiration where they know they can do something with their passions and at the same time inspiring others. So kudos to both of you, because you guys inspire me even more, knowing that there's other fellow women that also are not in the medical field, but are doing amazing things in life. So Thank you, Jens, for that. And I just have to say also thank you to everyone who's tuned in. There's many comments on the Facebook chat right now in the comment. Thank you, Miss Jane, Nico, Tin, Mike, and everybody on. Kumu, I see all the visual gifts. So thank you guys for that. I hope you are all learning because, wow, today was a very special episode. And if you want to know more, as Jen mentioned, you can follow her. You can see her social media just, flowing here in the ticker and also on her name. So do follow her because there's so much more to learn. Jen, do you have any more questions? Because I know you do have a lot.
No, I'll save them for another day.
Yeah. We have part 2 with our own personal money coach right here. But truly, you're so beautiful inside and out. And thank you. Keep inspiring the world. Thank you for being part of In Her Purpose today. And we will definitely invite you back because I know Rose, she's going to watch the replay and we'll have many more questions for you. So for now, thank you so much. Maybe you have special shout outs, family and friends, or even clients that you want to say hi to.
I'll just say hi. And to all the new people, just be inspired through this platform and just absorb it because that's what's going to keep you going also, where you realize other people are doing it and it will re-inspire you, as you've seen through all of us, that we gain inspiration from each other, from colleagues, from friends. In this business entrepreneur world, your colleagues and cohorts and whatever, you become friends. You become automatic friends because you speak the same language. You start to, you just have the same mindset. And like I said earlier, these are the people that are going to understand what you're asking and what you're trying to go through. Not your cousin who doesn't understand what you're trying to do. Again, there's a time and place for all that, but just remember, be paying attention to who you surround yourself with. And so this platform, thank you, ladies, for creating this because it's so important for people to hear what you're sharing with the world.
Thank you, Jen.
Welcome.
We'll invite you again, don't worry. But for now, thank you again. Super grateful for your time because we know that you're also a busy bee. But guys, tune in. We're going to have part 2 with Jen Fontanilla. And please do follow her again. So for now, we'll see you later, Jen. Thank you
Thank you.
again. And of course, Jen, my Jen here at Inner Purpose. Amazing episode. Wow. I love her. Like, we need that reminder. And what I love about her is that she was very powerful on making sure that everybody understands that, hey, it's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to take or have that courage to pursue what you want to pursue. And for everyone out there, I know we kept saying FOMO, that if the ones that don't know what FOMO is fear of missing out. So if you have that single tickle or just want to understand what is this person doing or what was that? Like Jen said earlier, there's so many resources that are free. There's so many workshops. Here in Her Purpose, we have 2 amazing workshops and plenty more to come. And also Jen Fontanilla has her workshops. So please, guys, take advantage. I mean, this is really the time to level up. And speaking of level up, I know we have your workshops. Maybe you want to share how they can find the workshops, Jen?
Oh, yes. You can find any of our programs and workshops on our website at inherpurpose.com.
And of course, congratulations. You just had a successful event this past weekend. I know a lot of photos will be coming up. Maybe you can share also what was the amazing, I guess, tidbits of what happened.
Yeah, so this past weekend we celebrated Inner Purpose's 1-year anniversary. We had a charity fashion show with Joanna Alba, which is one of the designers in our book, and she's also one of our favorites. You've probably seen her here, heard about her here, but we partnered with her and we had this charity event called Rise and Thrive in downtown LA, where she styled a bunch of celebrity athletes and littles from young to teenagers. They got to design an outfit with Joanna, and they got to wear it down the runway with their partners were celebrities. So that was pretty fun to see them light up the room and just see people smiling and cheering for them and celebrating. So that was pretty cool. I'm a Lakers fan, so it was really great to see the Lakers logo up there on our step and repeat next to Filipino brands like Inner Purpose, Alba, Kumu, Collective Hustle. That made me really proud to see, our hometown in LA supporting like all the Philam brands and just like Kumu is global and to share that with people who were not Filipino. I mean, it was awesome. Like we had a very mixed crowd and we were serving Filipino food from Cafe 86 and Ninong's. They were eating ube, lumpia, and what else? The Philharmonic performed.
Yes.
So it was a good time. So it was fun. We had lots of food. The Filipino auntie and me was like, I don't think we're gonna have enough food. We had enough food.
Yeah, you did. And guys, if you're curious of what was happening during the event, In Her Purpose social media platforms has snippets of the fashion show, the people that attended, so that you can see or even reach out to In Her Purpose for future collaborations or even sponsorships. But for now, I do encourage you all, don't forget, In Her Purpose is also an amazing book. If you haven't received your copy, or even give somebody that you care about, because there are amazing, inspiring stories in this book. My daughter alone, I'm here in the Philippines, and she is loving this book. Every time I see her reading it makes me so proud. I always share it with Jen and Rose. So we have to really give respect and so much praise for these ladies for doing all the hard work and getting 40 stories of inspiring women. And it's a book that will always leave a legacy. So speaking of legacies, what Jen Fontanilla shared earlier, that let's aim for that. Let's aim to leave a legacy on earth, because that is our calling for all of us. Right, Jen?
Yes. I mean, I'm wearing the shirt.
Yes, you are. Perfect timing. So with that, guys, we will see you again in the next episode of In Her Purpose Show. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Ready or not,
Miss you.
here I come. Never late when the night is young, always late when the morning comes. Let's go, we'll figure it out. We should hit the hot spot, got no time to hit stop.